Sweat more, bitch less. Divine rise, blessed be to your day, may be everything you require to create everything that you desire. In order to win the day, we understand that we gotta understand the night before. I don't know why my camera's acting weird. I hit that wrong button. Oh, here we go. Do it like this. Do-do-do-do. I got to say yes. The more I realized that me thinking that I gotta say yes stopped me from getting to say no. The more that I stayed in the state of I got to say yes, I got to say yes, I got to do this, and I got to wake up with this mindset of I got to, it kept me from assessing what I was getting. Say it one more time. I noticed that the more that I stayed in the state of I got to do something, it took me away from the ability to assess what I was getting. My gots, or I gotta go get to something because of this, and this, kept me in the state of the past. When I started saying I get, when I'm getting to something, it kept me in the now. It kept me in the flow of the now. In order for me to tap into what I was getting, and assessing what I was getting, and learning from what I was getting, I had to step out of what I got to do. It's all based on how you wake up. Every day that you wake up, I talked about it in the video that's in my story. Are you waking up in a sense of entitlement? Or are you waking up in gratitude? To wake up in entitlement. To wake up feeling like you deserve something. To wake up feeling like, remember this, the balance. To wake up feeling like I got to do this based on an entitlement will always keep you out of the now. It'll always keep you out of the now. Staying in the I got to live, I got to survive, staying in the gots will have you always basically saying yes to damn near everything in order to maintain that mentality. When I switch my mindset over, we'll start with 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago, going further back, and I started switching to I get to. It changed how I saw things forever. It changed how I reacted. It changed how I said yes, what I was saying yes to. It changed my entire perspective. And that's one of the keys that we're always getting into. Your perspective powers your perceptions, or how you react to perceptions, or how you respond to the perception. Your potential gives you the ability to look at what you're preserving. Your purpose gives you the ability to assess what you're projecting, or what you're allowing to be projected into your space. These are the lessons of tapping into the shadow. These are the lessons that come into your healing. These are the lessons that go into shifting you out of this false sense of entitlement simply because you showed up. I noticed for myself as a personal experience. That where I am now is in direct correlation to my past. This is when I always talk about the unseen creates your space. The unseen creates your path and your experiences. So when I started looking at when I really started embracing that, I got the lesson from, I was watching Sons of Anarchy yesterday while I was finishing up some emails. And I was looking at, if you haven't seen Sons of Anarchy, I was looking at Gemma Teller, and I got past the episodes when like she still had some reserves about her mother. And then I said it out loud. I was like, the correlation of the relationship between Gemma and her mother set up and brought her into the attraction of what was inside of her space. And it made me really think about living in the past and how a lot of us live in the past based on the learned behaviors. The thing about learned behaviors is you don't know how much behavior was learned until you actually start taking that accountability. You don't know how much of your behavior was learned until you start taking accountability. Till you start actually taking that responsibility for yourself. You really don't know. I really didn't know how much of my behavior was learned, let alone where I was learning it from. Let alone where I was learning my behavior from. And that's based in that I got to wake up. For a long time for myself, I was like, I got to wake up and go to work. I got to get up and pay these bills. I got to get up and do this. I got to go up. If I don't get up, then nobody else is going to eat. Nobody else is going to be okay. Everybody's dependent upon me. I had to really look at what I was saying to myself. Me staying in that I got to go get to something kept me saying yes based on escape. Because remember, you're always looking for something. What are you looking for? As I adjust the camera, you want to act weird as hell. But I had to adjust, as I'm adjusting the camera, for example, I had to adjust my space. I had to adjust my space. I had to adjust where I was at. I had to assess where I was at. This is when I was understanding these patterns. The patterns that were based upon me deserving something. I had to get to a real humbling moment and understand that I don't deserve anything. Follow me. I don't deserve anything. I don't deserve anything. The reason I say that I didn't deserve anything was because I didn't even know who I truly was. See, that I got to go do something, it keeps you separated from getting to know you. See how it stops you from getting to know something? Getting to know yourself, getting to have that conversation with yourself, getting to embrace the patterns because you're always worried about what you got to do. That I got to do mentality is surface. That I got to do mentality is entitlement. That I got to do mentality has me overworking myself when I could actually take time and like, why do I overwork myself? Why am I overworking myself? Why am I pushing myself to this level? Whose goal am I trying to fulfill? What goal am I trying to fulfill? Whose goal am I trying to fulfill? What persona am I trying to remain in so I can stay in that space? That I got keeps you in the past. Because your I got tos are fed from your past. So that keeps my shadows in the past. That keeps me away from assessing my repressed memories. That keeps me away from dealing with things. So naturally in my space, I'm always given a way to avoid. I'm always given a way. You're always given everything that you need. But what do you see? if when I was stuck in that I got to go mentality, I only saw things based on what I got to go for. I saw less and less of myself and more of just a reason to react. I stayed in that position for most of us, we stay in that position for most of our damn lives. Most of your current cycle. This is when we get into those aspects of the obstacle or the observation, or the obstacle or the opportunity. See, everything was an obstacle based on what I got to do. Everything was an obstacle based on what I got to do. But everything became an opportunity when I realized it was what I was getting to do. Based on what I was getting to do. Getting to learn. As we adjust. I hate that. Based on what I was getting to be able to do. I had to switch my mindset from that state of entitlement based on simply for showing up, trying to get a trophy. And then I had to switch my mindset into what I get to do. I get to wake up and sit in my being grateful. Not greatness, but being grateful. I get to sit in the opportunities of me being within my gratitude. I get to sit within the opportunities of my purpose and my potential. I get to sit in this space and become, what am I becoming? When I was stuck in that I'm getting, or I got to go to get something, I was not paying attention to what I was becoming. When I was stuck in the mindset of what I got to do, I never could take the moment to assess what I was becoming based on what I got to do. I gotta wake up. I gotta go to school. I gotta go to work. I gotta make sure these bills are paid. I gotta make sure this, and this. But I didn't realize what I was becoming. In order to stay in that I got to mentality, now my intentions gotta be set in the past. I gotta do this because of what I've been through. I gotta do this because the last relationship where I was in, this, and this happened. Instead of me looking at what I get to do. That getting puts you in the now. That getting forces you to step into this now position. That getting forces you to, that I got, exactly. We talked about that yesterday. That I got to shit, it kept me on autopilot. Because it was easy for me I gotta wake up, because what was I feeding for? Remember, we've talked about that before. We got deep into that. I was stuck in I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, and I gotta make sure this is done. Because if I don't do it, then nobody else does it. But then I'm realizing that I'm keeping myself in that position so nobody gets to do anything. The longer that I stayed in I got to position, it made me really think about it. And I've talked about this before. I've broken it down. I say it all the time in consultations. I say it all the time in sessions. I say it all the time to myself. If I got to do something all the time, I got to be in that position. My reflection of what I get to learn is in a reflection of others. So if I got to be the one in charge, if I got to be the one in control, if I got to be the one that's bringing some shit into the table, then what do I get? What do I get? All I get is more opportunities to get keep doing what I got to do. It made me really think about it when I was removing a lot of layers of the family dynamic, family, or the ones related to me based onto the traumas and the experiences, my friends, or the ones that were associated with me, like how that light went on, or the ones that were associated with me based on the experiences, it made me really start thinking. I was like, I find myself in this cycle of this loop of, at the end of the day, times when I could be at the house, times when I could be to myself, even when I wasn't even thinking about it, I always ended up in the same exact places. So instead of me now, because it was always in my mind, the root or the underline or the emotion was always on my mind. The thing that I was trying to avoid was always on my mind. The memory that was there of the event was always on my mind. So that every time I set an intention, guess what fed it? Every time you set an intention based on what you haven't dealt with, what do you think feeds the intention? What do you think sets up that pattern? What do you think sets up the brewing of your behavior and your habits? It's always going to be based on what I got to do. I got to do this because I don't want to see myself struggling anymore. So my intentions are set in struggle. So everything around me is going to be an obstacle based upon struggle. But if I go into I get to mentality, now everything becomes an opportunity. It's all in me changing my perception, changing my perspective to empower how I respond to the perceptions. Sweat more, bitch less. Peace, power, and obsolescence. Sweat more, bitch less. It wasn't, I remember back in the day when I was walking everywhere, walking to my job. I remember every day walking to my job. And I remember by the time I get to my job, people look at me and be like, yo, you walk to work? Where you live? Where you live? I mean, I live about 15 minutes away by car, about 2 hours away walking on foot. Yo, you walk 2 hours? I was like, yeah, I get to walk 2 hours every day. Man, I can't walk that long. I was like, why? Man, it's hot outside. People gonna be looking at me. People gonna think that I'm crazy. People gonna be looking at me like, damn, I'm crazy. Why the fuck's that nigga walking? Ooh, that nigga broke. That's the perception built from your perspective. You only fill your space with what you think about yourself. Give you the example. I've talked about that a lot earlier on in Meditating Elevates. I talked about this. And it really showed me my level of entitlement. I remember when I first opened up to my, when I was first opening up, and I remember when I was opening up to my awakening phase, learning myself, knowledge of self, all that good shit. I remember opening up to that phase, and I remember my entire Facebook friend list shrunk. I think at the time when I first came into my enlightenment, my page was sitting at like 800 some odd people, like 1,000 some odd people, 1,500 people. But then as I started making my posts, changing my thought process, I don't like how my camera's like making me do all this, but whatever. We don't keep it like that. But I remember looking at it and I was like, I felt some type of way. I felt some type of fucking way that motherfuckers were no longer following me. I felt some type of way that motherfuckers were no longer following me. Motherfuckers were dropping off. I felt some type of way. I felt like I was being rejected. I felt like I was being ridiculed. I felt my perspective. Congratulations, Carlos. Congratulations, Carlos. Everything that you built and the reason that you built it, or the reason that it attracted to you, is now being shown to you. So it wasn't about I didn't give a fuck about their perception. I was still stuck in me, not assessing my perspective. I was stuck within that trend of trying to remain relevant. Yeah. I was stuck in that aspect of me trying to remain relevant. You see, staying in the I got to mentality, it keeps you in a state of the past or relevance. You try to stay relevant. You try to stay ahead. And then we talked about that yesterday and the day before with procrastination, and the day before when we got into the aspects of that quantity of your existence. The bias definition. That's what we'll be getting into on Friday. The definitions of bias. I was stuck in that mentality over and over and over again, being upset that motherfuckers, and I would use the same exact lines. We use the same exact lines. I known them ever since high school. I know them ever since college. I known them ever since elementary school. I knew them ever since middle school. And now they want to act different. I'm not shedding and doing all this work to stay the same. I'm not doing all this shit to stay the same. I'm not doing this based on a level of entitlement. I'm not doing this based on remaining and trying to preserve these identities. I'm not trying to do it based on that anymore. I don't got to teach, but I get to teach. Therefore, now I get to learn. I don't gotta counsel. I don't gotta provide services, but I get to provide services based on the quality of what I learn. I get to be in the position of my authenticity. I get to be in the position of my authenticity. So since I'm always getting to be in this position, I'm always in my now. I can't assess you cannot assess yourself in the environments of your past. I don't care what you do. That's like literally you clean yourself up and you go take a picture. You take a selfie and behind you got the old nasty mattress. You got shit thrown all over the bed. But you on fleek. You on point. You on point. You on fleek. You killing some things. You looking great. Peace. But your environment doesn't match that. Your environment doesn't match it. Remember, your space is your opportunity. Your space is your opportunity. Your space is your initial opportunity. So if you look around in your space and your space is out of order, your space is out of order, your space is collecting dust, your space is looking like what you are and not where you want to be, guess what you got to do? Time to assess your space. But it's going to be deeper than just, okay, cool, I'm going to put a coat of paint over here. I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to put up some tapestries. I'm going to burn some candles and some incense. And then that's going to get me to, now I can start attracting what I need to get. That ain't how this works. This ain't about no surface level shit. I went back to before and my levels of my changing myself and becoming and realizing what I do now. I hate how my camera is acting stupid. All right, cool. But whatever. And what I'm looking at now and how I'm acting now compared to what I was doing before, staying within that safety net. Why is my camera acting stupid? All right, cool. We're going to do it like this. Now when I look at myself, how I live, how I move, how I walk, it's not based on me staying in comfort. Remember, none of this shit is based in you staying in comfort. None of this shit is based in you just reacting to maintain. I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do this. None of that's based in that. That's when we get stuck in those terms of entitlement. Everything is based on the suggestion of the use. One thing that I thought about was you think about servers at restaurants. Even at the bottom of the receipt of a server at a restaurant, It says suggested to. Nowhere on that building, in that restaurant, does it say that they have to tip. Even on the receipt, it says suggested tip. So now I have to look at myself based on the quality, not the quantity. I get to explore myself. I get to be in the position of learning to love myself. I get to be in the opportunity to shed. I get to be in this opportunity to become the best version of myself every time that I move. I get to allow my energy to start speaking for me instead of me having to speak with my energy. I get to be in this position of me being in the greatest version of myself. I get to be fucking great. I get to be fucking grateful. I get to be fucking in gratitude. I get to be able to do what I'm doing and be in the true love of myself rather than I got to. I ain't got to do anything but be fucking great. I ain't got to do anything but enjoy the experience. Get out of the past. It's time to step into the now. I gotta say yes? No. I gotta say yes? Or do I get to say yes? I get to say no. Just like as G.O.D has said, I got a lot of work to do. Changing my mentality on that, for me, I get to experience this work. I get to experience myself. I'm no longer trying, I'm executing. There's certain things that switch you from that off to that one category to the other category. I get to put in this work. I got chosen. You got chosen. That's why you looking at it right now. Exactly. You already were chosen when you came into this position. Grand Rising. You already were chosen for this position. You already chose the position. Get to go on an adventure. You chose your lineup. You chose the contract. You chose the players. You chose the salary. You chose it all. You ready to do it now. But you got that choice. Remember, you can't keep reading that time don't exist. And you saying time is an illusion, but I ain't got no time. How that work? Time is an illusion, but I ain't got no time. How that work? It's time to step out of comfort. Tonight, this week, we got into the God Hour podcast. We got into those parasocial behavior or the characteristics of the shadow. We broke down some examples of the lost innocence of the inner child, the parent trap, and we got into that fanatic transparency. That podcast available everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Breaker, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Pod Addict, everywhere podcasts are at right now. Links all over in my page. Tonight, we're going to get into some deeper aspects of terms of entitlement. Y'all know, if you're familiar with the God Hour show, on Wednesday night, 7 p.m., 7:30, we start doing some readings, live readings. So if you want to get a little feel of what we doing when we doing it in the world of the Godico Alchemist and how we do it in Dolph City, how we do it around here, hit me up there. But if you know that you ready, even if it's ready to ask questions. Remember, your genius and your intelligence is simply wanting to learn. Bobby Hemmett taught us that. So even if you're ready to just start asking the questions, hit me up in the inbox. Let's see where it leads to. You ready to... come here. You ready to jump in the inbox? Hop in the inbox. Let's set up that appointment for that consultation. Let's get you that reading. Let's get you to where you want to fucking be. I desire you to be the fucking best. The only way to become the best is to become really, really vulnerable, really, really open, and really, really honest. I can't live in the past because everything I'll do in the present, I got to live in the necessity of myself in this current state. So I'll always be looking at the future, always stuck in the past, keeps me locked in trying to look for a future where my presence never exists. You never miss it because they always up. The podcast is up now. The podcast is streaming now. Every Tuesday I drop the new episode of the podcast. So the podcast is available now. You can listen to it whenever. Just like the lives when we on Friday nights, they're available whenever. They're on the channel. All of these videos that you see on here, even if I remove them after 30 days, they're available on my channel. Everything is available. You just got to break the pattern. But I want you to be the fucking best. I'll see y'all tonight at 7. If you've scheduled anything, I'll see you throughout the day. It's time to be the fucking best. I love you. We love us. Ashe.